One day, we get up, no soldiers. The gate was open to the property. And a woman comes running and says, "Does anybody knows how to use a sewing machine? The Russians are coming, and we want to make a big red flag to put it on our building." Well, I volunteered. I figured I'll get some extra food or something. I did that, got back, grabbed Mother, took her out into the woods because the place was in a wooded area, more or less, plunked her down and said, "Mom, I'm going shopping." Now, I had no money, right? So I go to the grocery store, and I still can see the owner or clerk at the store wearing like a gray coat or something, typical European. And this was Czechoslovakian, the occupied Czechoslovakia. And I say, "Well, I just got out of the camp there, and my mother is very sick. I'd like to have a chicken to make some chicken soup, some milk, some butter, whatever." He starts chasing me. Now, maybe he didn't know yet that the war was over. So he chases me, so I grabbed the chicken, I grabbed the bread, I grabbed anything I could. I must have grabbed a pot. I can't remember grabbing a pot, but how can you make chicken soup without a pot, right? So I made the soup for Mother, and I started a fire. Pretty good for a girl who didn't ever get to Girl Scouts. And I said, "Okay, Mother, now I'm going for help." And the local people were very, very helpful. So they got us to a hospital in Turnau. I can't remember the name in Czechoslovakian. Mother was fine. She just was walking around with an intravenous to get her over of her undernourishment. I came down with jaundice because the Czech people eat very rich food, a lot of milk, cream, butter. Well, no, my liver wasn't used to that, so it revolted. So I got sick. Well, we both got well, went to Prague, where we contacted the French repatriation group, was repatriated to France, and got $5,000 after having been debriefed, and said, "Okay, now you go home." So we took the train to southern France, back to southern France. That's when Mother found out that we didn't have a home anymore, but we found some friends. They helped us find an apartment and get Mother on her feet as a dressmaker again. I started working for the USO. And that's where I learned American English. And after a while, I decided I want to try to find my father. He was in Guatemala City. Well, that's all I knew. So I sent the letter to Mr. Elvin Hecht, Guatemala City, Guatemala. And he got it. So then I immigrated. Mother took me to the ship. We took the boat to Caracas. From Caracas through Panama Canal to Guatemala, except in Panama I was stopped because I was German without a passport. And then I got to Guatemala, and there, while I was working in Nice, one American soldier gave me a business card and said, "If you ever come to New York, look me up." Well, I wanted to leave. I didn't want to stay in Guatemala. My father had friends. They were New Yorkers. He wouldn't let them sign an affidavit for me. So I wrote to this guy, and he signed it. It took 7.5 years for that visa to be processed for me to be able to come into the United States.
So you lived in Guatemala for 7.5 years?
Yeah. And a small community, very cliquish ethnically, Mm-hmm. So, and I had been raised in Paris, so that, it just didn't compute. And got to New York. My father said to me, "You'll be back." He gave me $250. I said, "Never." I got to New York on a Friday, looked for the YWM, and the cab driver took me around the square for about 4 times before I pointed out where it was. The next day, was it Saturday or Sunday, I went with the girls up to the Statue of Liberty. Monday I went job hunting, and Sunday night I had dinner with a fellow who had signed affidavit. And I got the New York Times, look for that. And my first place to go was United Nations, figuring I spoke German, French, and Spanish, right? We can't use you. You don't have a citizenship. Okay. I think I went a couple of more ads, and I got back to the Y around 2 o'clock. The matron said, wait a minute, aren't you looking for jobs? I said, after lunch? They'll think I just got up. No way. So I went the next morning. There was an ad for a sales girl at a hosiery store on Madison Avenue. I knew that was a good street. I got there, it was pouring rain. The store wasn't open. I was there at 9 o'clock, but it doesn't open till 10, so I stood and waited. When the manager showed up, she said to me, can I help you, ma'am? I said, yeah, I'm looking for the job. Oh, have you ever sold before? Oh, yes. And I speak language. Okay, you're hired. And I was hired. When I got back to the Y, the matron said, what happened? I was more worried. So that ended that. And basically, got a job, met my husband, worked for Pan Am, worked for Lufthansa German Airline, lived 30 years in New York, and eventually retired and moved to California.
Have you been here since?
No, I was in San Jose, and I worked in San Jose for some years. Then I worked for Siemens, 8 years, 10 years, I can't remember. I mean, I've worked for German companies all my life. Actually, when I came to San Jose, I worked Lufthansa in New York. When I came to San Jose, I worked for Höchst, a German company. I worked for Siemens. My language has always got me the jobs. And then my husband passed away after a year in California from cancer. And then eventually I met my buddy Conrad. And one day he said, when are you retiring? I say, never. I'll work till I drop dead. I have no family left. He said, well, I'll take care of you. I'm going to be retiring. I have a property up in the Placerville area, and I'll be eventually build. No, and you can buy something up there after you sell your place. Well, eventually it came to the point, okay, I'm planning to build a house. I'll build a bathroom and a bedroom for you. That was fine. And then the neighbors of the property, one day we found out they want to sell the house. They were about my age at that point. So I turned to Conrad. I say, Conrad, has 3 bedrooms. It's perfect. So we got the property. So now we have 11 acres. And I spin. I got my own webpage. I sell the stuff to the internet. And I love it here. I wouldn't change it.
Amazing.
And, life is funny. And things happen, and the way I react to them is, okay, it happened, I can't change it. I'll make the best out of it. Like I was fired on one of the jobs, or laid off really, I was never fired, laid off. And I said to the boss, oh great, I'll get a better job now. I don't really blame anybody. I just resent the gullibility of people. Hitler was a great orator. He promised everything. It was Depression time. People weren't doing too well. They believed every word he said, like if it was gospel truth, and they elected him. So he became in power. Because my attitude is so different, I hope that the young people realize that they are the only people who can prevent something like that to happen. Because it's happening in Africa, it's happened in Croatia. And actually, Croatia, a good friend of mine I worked with is from Croatia. And one day I was making a presentation at HP, and he had 2 of his friends, Muslims, who had been liberated from the camp there, come and listen. And I said to them at the end,